Your father wants to walk you down the aisle, my mom said. My father walked out when I was 3. He's been across the street for 24 years. I grew up watching him from my bedroom window, mowing his lawn every Saturday morning, bringing in groceries every Sunday evening, sitting on his porch reading the newspaper while I waited for the school bus, 20 feet away from my entire childhood, and he never once knocked on our door. I asked about him constantly when I was young. Why does that man look at me when I walk to school? Why does he wave at me but never talk? Why did daddy leave? My mom always said the same thing. Your father was a selfish man who chose to abandon his family. He lives there to torture me. Don't ever speak to him. So I didn't. For 24 years, I walked past his house without making eye contact, pretended he didn't exist while feeling his presence every single day. The ghost across the street who was somehow also flesh and blood. Now I was engaged, planning a wedding, and my mother had the nerve to say he wanted to participate. Absolutely not. He asked me to ask, said he'd understand if you said no. Good. He can watch from his porch like he's watched everything else. My mother started crying, something deeper and older than her usual tears. I need to tell you the truth before you make this decision. You deserve to know what really happened. The story she told wasn't the one I'd believed for 24 years. My father didn't walk out. He broke down. When I was 3, he had a psychotic episode. Undiagnosed bipolar disorder building for years finally erupted. He became paranoid, delusional, convinced people were coming to hurt us. One night, he barricaded the doors and wouldn't let us leave for 2 days. She called the police. He was hospitalized for 3 months. When he got out, he was different, medicated, stable, horrified by what he'd done. He wanted to come home. Why didn't you let him? Because I was terrified. I couldn't forget those 2 days. I told him if he came near us, I'd file a restraining order. So he bought the house across the street? He said if he couldn't be your father, he'd at least be close enough to see you grow up. I thought he'd eventually move on, find another family. He never did. 24 years watching through a window because it was the closest she would allow. Why didn't you tell me? Because I was ashamed of how scared I was, of letting you believe he abandoned you when I pushed him away. I walked across the street that night for the first time ever, knocked with shaking hands. He opened the door like he'd been waiting, maybe 24 years. Lily. He said my name like a prayer. His house was small and clean. On every wall were photos of me, school pictures, newspaper clippings, a graduation announcement, a shrine to a daughter he could see but never touch. Mom told me everything. The episode, the hospital. Shame covered every line of his face. The worst days of my life. I could have hurt you both. When I came back to myself and realized that was 24 years ago. You've been stable since. Medication every day. Therapy every week. Never missed a dose. Never will. And you accepted not being my father? I'd lost the right to demand anything, but I couldn't leave you entirely. I was there when you broke your arm at 7. Watched the ambulance come. There when that boy broke your heart at 16. Wanted to cross the street so badly that night. Tears streamed down his face. I was there for everything, just not how I should have been. We talked until midnight about his illness, his decades of watching from 20 feet away, my life, my fiancé, the wedding. You don't have to let me walk you down the aisle, he said. I haven't earned it. You spent 24 years being close when close meant invisible. That's not nothing. Your mother had every right to keep me away. What you did was get sick. What you did after was spend your life making up for something you couldn't control. I looked at this man I'd hated for being absent when he'd been present the only way allowed. The wedding is in 3 months. I want you standing next to me, not watching from the porch. He broke down completely. 24 years of grief releasing. My mother didn't attend the wedding, couldn't face what her fear had cost us. I hope she forgives herself eventually. My father walked me down the aisle, held my arm like I might disappear, cried through the ceremony. At the reception, we had our first father-daughter dance. 27 years late. He still lives across the street, but now I actually cross it.